Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Mystery Science Theater 3000 Live, the Watch Out for Snakes tour. I saw the Watch Out for Snakes tour in New York. I got this cool shirt. I had an amazing time. If you're a Mystery Science Theater fan, you should definitely go see it. In terms of rules for this video, I will say that I'm going to talk about the tour, but I'm going to talk about the movie and all that afterwards, because I saw the super secret surprise movie, and I know it's been leaked online. I've seen on Twitter, I've seen it posted places, but in terms of discretion and people who do want it to be surprised, I am not going to talk about that up front. That will be later. So if you clicked on this video and you're like, please don't ruin this for me, I won't, unless you keep watching it. Then I guess then that's on you. I did not see EGAT because even though I knew they did a new restoration for it, EGAT is one of my favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes and probably one of the best. I kind of just felt that I wanted to go with the one that will only be a live episode. I didn't want to see them redo ones. I'm sure Jonah and Hampton and Tom Ryder would still do an amazing job for EGAT, and it's one of those movies you'd have a great time with, but I just was like, also money. I know some people did both. Not everyone in the audience. I saw it at the PlayStation Theater in Times Square, New York. I did notice there are a few jokes that carry over. I will get to that in the review part. But if you do see both, there's like a little bit of carryover. They actually get it to connect. And it probably a more interesting experience for those people who spent a lot more money. So it's probably should be. You know, I love being in a room full of Misties, watching some Mystery Science Theater related stuff and laughing. It's a really great experience, and seeing Mystery Science Theater 3000 live reminded me of that. Reminded me of the two other times I've done that. Once when I saw Mystery Science Theater 3000 the movie in a packed theater full of fans, and when I saw the Riff Tracks Mystery Science Theater 3000 reunion show thing. That was really great, and the atmosphere was really great. Frank Conniff, TV's Frank, was actually there. He didn't perform anything, but he was taking photos with fans. I'm too shy to do stuff like that, but I thought about it, and he was really nice to anyone who was like, oh hey, how's it going, and stuff like that. And he wore a cinematic Titanic t-shirt, which I thought was cool. The head writer was there as well. The merch was really great. I got this shirt, which has the boneheads right there, watch out for snakes. On the back is the bots and Jonah watching out for snakes. There was a shirt that was more traditional, kind of tour shirt with the logo and the tour dates on the back. I chose this one. They did not have larger sizes. This is a large, but they did not have larger sizes than this, because apparently the guy at the merch table told me they did not receive them from the people who made them. There was an order malfunction or something. I don't know if that'll be the case when you go to the merch table, but they're very nice, and this shirt fits me fine. I can fit into a large. I prefer extra large. This will probably help me lose weight because I like the shirt. So I don't want to have to look at it and go, oh, I'm fat. Man, so I have lost some weight in the past year or so I'm hoping this shirt will help me keep it off. We'll see. I think it's a cooler shirt. They had other merch, particularly the thermos mug thing that a snake pops out of and all that stuff. That is obviously a Joel invention, and I didn't think about getting it because it was $90 and I don't have that. I'm not going to spend $90 on something like that, but a lot of people are like, yeah, but it's a Joel invention is what I kept hearing around the theater, and I was like, oh, that's actually a good point. Made me reconsider, but I didn't buy it. It made me go from, oh, there's no way I'd fucking buy that, to like, oh man, I see your point now. They had a bunch of stuff, like a cool stand-in and like stickers and all that stuff. So I know it's kind of harder to get Mystery Science Theater merchandise at a certain point. There's not a ton of it, and so if you are, I ran to the merch table first. I had a game plan. I knew I wanted this shirt. So I'm that kind of dork, I guess. Also, I think probably the most controversial part of this tour is that Baron Vaughn could not do it. I understand why. His wife, his girlfriend, somebody, or is he married? Or I mean, it doesn't have to be. I'm not saying morally he should. I'm just, the woman who's carrying his child, I guess, is pregnant, and he didn't want to go on a tour. Understandable. I have a 4-month-old baby, so I totally get that part. I understand if you're sitting there and you're going like, what the fuck? I wanted to see the whole crew and he's not there. But Tim Ryder is doing the voice of Tom Servo, and I think he does a really good job, actually. He wasn't as seasoned as Hampton and Jonah were. Their charisma's already there, and I think Tim Ryder had a harder time kind of adjusting, but it sort of reminded me when Bill Corbett started, but he still did an excellent job. If Baron Vaughn, for any reason leaves. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying anything like that. But if that happens, Tim Ryder would be an excellent replacement. He actually did a fairly good job. I got over it fairly quickly. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it towards the middle of the show. I probably thought of it more in Reptilicus or Revenge of the Creature with Bill Corbett than I did for this. So I think that's the highest combo. I think Tim Ryder did a great job. Joel showed up at the beginning and the end. Rebecca, who plays the voice of Gypsy, did a good job. I actually didn't realize she was that. I thought she was just a clone of Mary Jo Pehl, and I thought it was Mary Jo Pehl until this tour, and it kind of made me go, oh, she does a good job, because I actually thought that was someone else. So good acting there. And I like the bonehead, and they do kind of cute bits in there and things like that. So now I'm going to talk about the super secret surprise movie. If you do not want that spoiled for you, then do not watch after this. Please do not. If it has gone past this tour and you're watching this later, then I'm sorry you didn't get to see it, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, there's spoilers because it's a big spoiler. So do not watch past this. I did not see EGA. I cannot talk about that. It's a great episode. If you haven't seen that episode of Mystery Science Theater, what are you doing with your life? See that and see the tour as well. But it's a great tour. I 100% like all the things I can talk about that aren't the movie itself. I think they did an amazing job. Joel did a great job. I would like to see them do this more often. I know this hasn't happened before. They did it in the 90s and such, and they never felt like they did it as well. But this is fully an episode of the show with the breaks and every invention exchanges and everything like that, and it is just as much fun as one of those. So I will say that, and now we will move on. Although I guess the one thing is they have an intermission, which I was a little confused about. I was like, I didn't really need a 20-minute intermission. It's like the length of a movie. I could have done it. I didn't think they needed it, and the transition from intermission to movie I thought was a little rushed. They didn't really spend a lot of time once they got back to intermission, running back to the movie. That was one thing I didn't love. I didn't particularly need that, but I did spend more money on alcohol, so I guess... Oh shit, I totally get it now. Never mind. Anyway, so I'm going to reveal what it is, so if you do not know, finally, if you do not want to know what the super secret surprise movie is, then click off and then come back after you've seen the tour or something. And I'm sorry if it did not come to your town. That's not cool, but it just apparently worked out that way. Anyway, it is called Argo the Fantastic Superman. It is a film from 1967. It is apparently Italian, even though it took place mainly in England. And I'm going to put the poster up here because I couldn't do it on the default image, because holy shit, that's an amazing poster for a movie that kind of Star Wars-y, that poster. They do a great job with it. I think if this were an episode, I'd say it's a stronger one. Not an absolute classic, but such a strong one that an episode I'd rewatch a bunch of times. I really liked the performances. I really liked the riffs. They had this ongoing bit with the terry cloth robes. This guy's got so many robes. They had a lot of fun with like how ridiculous this is and how choppy this movie is. It's kind of like a perfect movie for them to riff. I'm almost upset that this is never going to be a episode, but I think they did a good job with it. They even have some funny bits on stage, and they kind of act like they are on tour, and even in the continuity of the show. So like that Jonah tries to be Argo Man in one part and he runs off stage, and the bone guy brings him back, which I thought was funny, with snake guns. They do have snake guns in this, which in the invention exchange they show snake bazookas, and apparently they had snake guns in EGOT, so they kind of show an escalation, so you'd probably know that more if you would watch both, although I know that, so maybe it's not worth it, but I don't know. It probably is worth it, to be honest. It probably was really funny. This is kind of sort of a superhero movie, but mostly a James Bond sort of rip-off thing. It's very British, but also made by Italians, which I didn't know until I Wikipedia'd this. It's a bizarre little movie, and it is kind of weird that it's the Fantastic Superman, but maybe that's like, well, we won't get sued if he's a fantastic Superman, not just a Superman. He doesn't even turn into this hero that much, but I had a really funny time. I literally laughed around. I think it also helps when you have all these people with you, and I think it kind of worked. Like if they had done maybe a lesser one, like if they'd done like, I know I shit on Time Travelers a lot and stuff, but if they'd done Time Travelers to the Hercules episode for the live show, I don't think that would have worked. I think it seems like their choice of this movie, they seem to understand the difference between picking a movie that's going to be a hit for everybody. I think there's a difference between picking 12 movies and picking one movie to go on tour with, and I think this was a good one. And it's risky because, you know, how do you know it's going to go over? Certainly EGA, you know, people are going to go, oh, I know EGA, that they're playing the hits. I'd like to see that. Argo Man was definitely a different thing. And I think it's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind, like, if there isn't a season 12, which there fucking should be. There really should be. But if there isn't, and if they did, like, one special special one live every year, I would be happy with that. That would be amazing. I forget what Jonah's invention. Oh, the hats. They had these hats where it was a hat of Crow that you'd put on and a hat of Servo, and Servo wanted to make out with his hat because it was like had intelligence and stuff. I thought that was really funny. That was pretty funny. They even bring up like robot representation in movies, which they're like, this is our only issue because they're robots, which does come up a lot. I'm glad that like connected from the Jonah years to the live show. I did hear people in the audience saying like, so is this season 11 or is it 12? Where does this fit into that? Should we all just really just relax? I don't know where it fits in. That's a good question. I think it's just a live show and it's kind of off in its own thing. The video they had with Felicia Day and Patton Oswalt were actually kind of funny, and it didn't seem like they like phoned them in or anything like that. And they had a cool like watch out for snakes logo video thing that come out if they made a snakes joke, which like sort of didn't entirely work with this movie, but I guess was funnier with Ega. But I think like maybe that's funnier to see the joke repeat itself in Argo Man if you had seen both. So there's probably more connection than I realized in that. They made a killer Johnny Quest joke. They could feed off the crowd and like improv and laugh at stuff a little more than you see from the regular episodes. Like they made a Johnny Quest joke and the crowd went crazy, and it was funny. It was a funny Johnny Quest joke about like Johnny Quest. I think it was like the Bachelor years or something, and we all laughed because it looked like that. They're like, wow, big Johnny Quest fans, and they could like bounce off things and like see what worked and stuff like that. So it's a different vibe and almost a funnier vibe. I would actually really recommend how much different it feels. I've seen like seeing the Mystery Science Theater reunion show, I noticed how much funnier it is to be with everyone and like other fans and stuff, but to see an actual Mystery Science Theater episode with like the seats and everything down here was different. They had like the set, let's say the set was right here down here on the screen, and then they had like a video screen, and then they would go in somewhere like behind the screen. You just see them go in the seats. I don't know how exactly they did that. It looked a little different from the movie. I'm not sure how that all worked, but that was odd. At first I was confused by it. I did notice they were filming all of it, so I'm not sure if that will get released on a DVD or streaming or something like that, or I'm just starting rampant speculation that doesn't go anywhere. But I thought Super Secret show, to me, it was very much worth it. It was worth seeing an episode I couldn't see anywhere else, and I'd always dream about seeing it live, you know, from the Mystery Science Theater conventions. I believe they did them, and I believe they tried it in the 90s, but this was not just them, you know, you got the host segments. It's literally like watching a whole episode live. I would have liked for when we walked out for them to play the Love theme from Mystery Science Theater. I thought that would have been appropriate, but I didn't hear it. Maybe they do it later or something like that. This was earlier in the tour, so I think, as most people say, if you see a tour, it's better to see it later on because they're more fine-tuned, but I thought they did a great job. Crow made the amazing joke of live from New York. It's Saturday night, and it was. They were live from New York, and it was Saturday night, so that was kind of funny. And I know they like do specific jokes to that region and where they're playing and things, as they should. If you were to follow them, which is something I contemplated, and follow them from city to city, I guess you could see how each joke changed. I would be curious if someone documented that and stuff. I think it was a really good time. I really liked Mystery Science Theater 3000 live. I would recommend it to anyone who's a fan of it. I really hope they do it again, and if you are contemplating it and you haven't gotten your tickets yet, definitely do it. If you missed out on this and are seeing this in the future, I'm sorry, because their riff on Argo Man, the Fantastic Superman, was really a great one. I'd probably put it on the higher tier of episodes from season 11, certainly. I wouldn't put it's not a Cry Wilderness or something like that, but it's definitely up there with like Avalanche and Star Crash and things like that. I put it up there, and I think people, if they saw the poster on Netflix or something, I think people would have freaked out about it. So it's actually a little ballsy to just like throw that one as just the live only one, but it would definitely made it worth my money. And even though it's, you know, it's expensive to see a show and stuff like that, it's probably the most I've ever spent on Mystery Science Theater, I definitely felt it was very much worth it, and it was worth seeing Joel, it was worth seeing Jonah, who did a great job, Hampton Youth, who, seeing him live made me like him even more. I've seen certain people live, like comedians and stuff, like I saw The Daily Show once, and seeing it, I thought Louis Black was better live than on TV. In fact, much better even than Jon Stewart, but then when I see it recorded, it's a different feel, and I think Hampton Youth is so much better. I like him as Crow. I have nothing against him. I'm not trying to talk shit, but I thought he did a great job live. Oh, by the way, Gypsy came down. It was very much a season 11 live show, but they did a great job with it. It was cool that Frank was there. I had an amazing time. It was a dream come true, because I always heard about these things. I would say one day I'll get to see them do it live, and that happened, and it was a great time. It was a great time for all, so I hope you get to see it. I hope you get cool merchandise like me, I very much recommend it if you're a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan. And it was good enough that I'm curious, I think actually non-fans could have liked it, but there was definitely no non-fans in the house. It was just like all people who clearly watched it as kids. No one was very much younger than me. It is an amazing thing to see us all together like that. And until maybe there's another Mystery Science Theater 3000 convention, I'm not saying I know anything or that that's even been talked about, but I'm just saying that would be amazing if they did it. Until that happens, this was a good enough replacement. And it's even better because you didn't have to travel, and more Misties will get to see a live event like that. And I think that will really spread the love and kind of the bring back of Mystery Science Theater. This got me even more excited. Even cooler that we have this super secret episode that only like the few, the lucky can see, and it was a really good one. This tour was really great and holds up to some of the best Mystery Science Theater 3000 stuff I've seen. So if you have seen Mystery Science Theater 3000 live and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments. And if you have seen Argo Man and saw the super secret show, do not be a jerk and comment below. If you reveal it before the tour's over, I will delete your comment. I'm serious. And subscribe if you would like to. What? You gotta respect the show, man. You know? I don't know. In the secret. Anyway.